Welcome to Tactical Gear for Life. Today is a special day for two reasons. One, we get to run the brand new Sterling Arms R9 MK1 PCC for the first time, and we got a ton of ammo. And two, because I have a couple fellow brothers in arms with me. I got my buddy Matt behind the camera, and my resident range buddy, Ralph. Before we go any further, I just want to give a huge shout out to Mike and the rest of the team over at Sterling Arms for sending me the R9, for making this video and this review happen. Well, it's cold, it ain't getting any warmer, so let's throw some lead down range. So I'm not here to make waves. We're going to go tip to butt like any good gun review. Sterling Arms has done something very interesting with the tip of the rifle, tip of the barrel, and that is that they've widened it and they've backbored it to basically make just a smooth hollow tube. As well, they cut the holes in the front and basically gave it an integrated flash suppressor, as well as simply lighten the load of the whole barrel. Now, why do they do this with the front end of the barrel? For two reasons, really. Well, they needed one solid piece of metal to keep the barrel at 18.5 inches, so it stays non-restricted in Canada. And the second was because your 9mm powder, for the most part, is burned up between 9 to 12 inches, with the peak velocity of the 9mm round being reached at about 10 to 12 inches. So anything past that just hinders the round and doesn't help at all. So they did that with this last 6.5 inches to just give you the best possible rifle while keeping it non-restricted. Now, the barrel as a whole, like I said, it's 18.5 inches. It's made from SAE 4140 steel, which just has overall really good properties. And it's a very heat resistant, corrosion resistant, it's strong, and basically just ensures that the barrel can take the beating and extreme use that Sterling Arms is hoping you're going to give to it by throwing a lot of lead down range through the R9. The handguard and the receiver set as a whole are made from 70-75 aluminum, and instead of 60-61, whereas 60-61 is good, it just doesn't have the same qualities and properties as 70-75 does. And those properties are aspects like tensile strength, it's a lot stronger, it's a lot tougher, and it's a lot more corrosion resistance. 70-75 is compared to a mild steel with how strong it is. Now, because it's that strong, you can also make it a lot thinner, which therefore makes it even lighter. And so the handguard is strong because of that, and it's nice and thin. Now, another awesome aspect that Sterling Arms did with the handguard is they gave it more of an oval shape as opposed to a round shape like you see on a lot of modern sporting rifles, or even military like the C8, the M4 have much more rounded handguards. Now, this is something I really liked about it because it allows you to have your hand closer together. It's a tighter grip, a more firm grip, and a more sure grip on this handguard than I would say a more round handguard. And so I actually really like it. I find it a lot more comfortable to shoot as well. You can see that they put on a full-length Picatinny rail. Around the handguard is M-Lok. And then to seat the handguard to the receiver, they've used torque screws. There's a side torque screw and a top vertical torque screw. And it has seated very nicely. There's no wiggle at all between the two. The receiver set, the upper receiver and lower receiver are pretty standard in design and what they offer. The upper receiver has the ejection port cover, as well as the charging handle, bolt catch, and that little guy right there, which is the trip for the firing pin safety. Now, when you get to the charging handle, it was the first thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and that's how much the charging handle sticks out from the gun. The feel of it is fine. It's contoured nicely. It's curved, so it seats in your hand nicely when you pull on it. But it just really projects out from the gun quite a bit. Now, when you have a gun that's supposed to be slick and sleek and tactical, having that charging handle stick out, I find just to be quite obnoxious. Now, it's aesthetics. It works well. It functions well. That's just my personal take on how it looks with the rest of the gun, especially when you could have gone with a folding charging handle, and you'll still get the same functionality. It'll just make the whole gun look more sleek. On the lower receiver, and you have your safety selector switch. You have your paddle mag release, as well as your push button mag release, and then obviously your trigger. So as when you get to the mag releases that I ran into, the first real functional issue that I have with the gun. The push button mag release works well, and the paddle mag release works well, but I definitely prefer a push button. It's what I'm used to using. I think it works better when you're trying to do quick mag changes, and you can simply push and give it a little flick to get that mag out of there while simultaneously inserting another mag. But at the same time, I had spent a little bit of time using Kodiak Defense's WK-181C, and I wasn't a huge fan of theirs. I had personally a hard time using it. I mean, it was my first time using a paddle mag release, but so I simply wasn't a big fan. And so I also wasn't a big fan when I had seen that Sterling Arms put a paddle mag release on this as well. Now, I was coming in with a bit of a tainted view. It was the biggest reason why I didn't like it, but I was pleased to see that there was both, so I could use the push button. That was, however, until I started using it. And I found out quickly that the push button mag release is too far forward to actually use while maintaining your grip on the gun. In order to use it properly, you have to almost completely release your grip in order to hit the push button mag release. And then if you're releasing your grip on the gun, that means you're still holding onto the handguard with your opposite hand, and you're not simultaneously putting in a new mag. And therefore, you can't do a fast mag change, which leads you to have to use the paddle mag release if you want to do a fast mag change. The problem you run into with the paddle mag release is there's no contouring on it. It's got a very sharp outer edge, which is fine if you're doing one or two mag changes, but when you spend a day on the range, if you're doing competition shooting or anything like that, it really starts to hurt after a while, especially in cold weather. Today it started off at like -20, it got up to about -8. We've been out here for most of the day shooting and having fun, and after a while it really starts to hurt your finger. And so having that straight edge in there just isn't ideal for prolonged usage. So it could use some definitely contouring. Another issue that we ran into as well, and only discovered this after shooting a bunch of rounds today, was the screw on the inside of the push button mag release kept coming undone. And when it would come undone, it wouldn't hold tight and no magazines would lock in. And at first, we thought this was going to be a huge issue. I'm saying they wouldn't lock in at all. And so we had to basically stop shooting at one point. Thankfully, it wasn't a bigger issue with the gun itself. It took us a little bit to figure that out. But you can see here, the little screw in there kept coming out and releasing any pressure from the magazine, so nothing was staying in. Now, some Loctite might fix that, but we have had to consistently tighten it now because it comes out, and it keeps coming out. We almost didn't think that we would even be able to do this today, because it was when we first started firing. We would get through maybe 3 rounds before the mag would just release itself and continuously fall out of the gun. So that was, I mean, simple fix, but big issue. Safety works well. It snaps into place. Nice audible click. That works well. The trigger is your standard issue Mil-Spec trigger like you would find on a C8 or an M4 or probably a large portion of other sporting rifles. It has about an 8-pound pull, which is quite heavy. Mainly if you're doing competition shooting, precision shooting, you're going to want a lot lighter pull, more around the 2 to 4 range. My rifle at home has about a 2-pound pull, and that's really nice. And so that's what I would want as well on the R9. Now, the initial batch of R9s won't be able to accept an aftermarket trigger, as the trigger on the R9 is proprietary. The channel that the hammer has to go through in the bolt is too narrow for any trigger currently on the market to be able to fit into. Now, Sterling Arms is in talk with Trigger Tech to make an aftermarket trigger, and from my understanding, that is a problem that they're looking to solve very quickly, sometime in 2025. The grip, I was very happy to see that they didn't just choose kind of a standard blocky grip, but they actually went with one that has good ergonomics and provides a really good feel when you're holding and firing the gun. The stock, the buttstock. It's pretty standard Magpul style buttstock. It has 6 positions that you can lock it in, and it feels nice in the shoulder. Shoots nice. It's a buffer tube style stock. Now, what I was happy to see that Sterling Arms did is that they put a pick rail on the back, and because of that, it allows you to customize the stock that you want. So if you got one you like better at home, or there's one you're looking at, you can buy it and use it for this. You don't have to use the one that comes with it. Lastly, that brings us to the magazines. When you purchase your R9, you're going to get one of these 5-round mags. On their website, you can also, maybe not on their website, but wherever you buy them from, they're also making these 10-round mags. Now, it's really nice that Sterling Arms went with MP5 style versus Glock style, because the Glocks just don't hold up under the amount of abuse that a PCC would put them under. And so the steel mags are really nice. They're a lot tougher, they're a lot stronger, so they're going to be able to handle a lot more usage and have a lot more longevity, that word, over time. As well, if you buy them specifically from Sterling Arms has included on their mags a last round bolt hold open. Now, you don't have to. The R9 will take any MP5 mag. So overall, I'm very pleased with it. It was a lot of fun to spend the time on the range. It feels good. It's comfortable. You know, other than those few setbacks, it was a really fun gun to shoot, and completely worth the money. It was awesome to see that Sterling Arms brought the price down a lot more. They're going for about $1,600. So overall, great firearm. So if you like this, head over to my website, tacticalgearforlife.com, in the description below, and I'll see you on the next one.